Craziest things teachers confiscated at school. This teacher was on her break when a student came up to her. He said that there was something that she had to see. So she followed him to a classroom. And this dude showed her a student's desk with an open notebook on it. And in that notebook was a bunch of names and information written down, including her own name. This was the crazy part. Written below her name was her birthday, address, and license plate number. At this point, she was definitely creeped out. The student who owned that notebook was then taken to the office. The police were called and they took her phone away. They wanted to look through it, just to be safe. Well, they found a photo album called Teachers. And in this album were pictures of 4 teachers, including the one in this story. Some pictures were taken secretly during class and others were saved from their Facebook profiles. That is absolutely creepy. This kid ran a crazy business during lunch. At his school, lunches were pretty long. He started bringing in 2 pairs of boxing gloves every day, and he would rent them out to people during lunch. He charged $10 for a 10-minute fight in the locker room, and people did it. It started slow at first, of course, but eventually word got out. People had to tell him in advance if they wanted to plan a fight and rent the gloves. Business was booming. Every day during lunch in the locker room, there were boxing matches. Other students even began watching these fights every day for their own entertainment. People were even making bets on the fights. But as you can guess, this didn't last very long. However, in its prime, he was making $200 a day. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a subscriber submission. At the school this person went to, the teachers would give away these tickets for good behavior or good grades. And kids could use these tickets to buy a bunch of stuff. Cookies, Cheez-Its, animal crackers, extensions on homework, whatever you want. Well, one kid was a savage and got a brilliant idea. He began stealing the rolls of these tickets from teachers' desks when they were not looking. And he was selling them to students at the school for $1 each. At first, nobody bought them. But after about a week, business was booming. He made about $1,500 before his mom found the money in his room. This is not okay, Kyle. You made money off of selling things that weren't yours. That's business, baby. What did you say to me? I'm giving this money to Mrs. Stevens tomorrow. But she's only getting half because you did work hard for this. An awesome way to mess with someone. The guy that shared the story said that when he was 12 years old, he was sitting on a bench at Six Flags by himself, when suddenly an average-looking guy in his 20s comes up to him, looks him dead in the eyes and says, "You are going to remember me for the rest of your life." And he walks away. That kid is now 45 years old, and that random stranger was correct. He's thought about that moment every day since then. That's crazy. When this person was in 6th grade, he went to this small store by his house and bought a bunch of tiny food-shaped erasers, like these. He sold the erasers 2 for $1, and business was frickin' booming. He was making tons of money, and he kept buying more and more erasers, and he kept selling out. By the end of the year, he made over $1,000. What did he use that money for? He spent all that money on food for his family and gave some of it to his grandma. Respect. Worst Christmas gifts ever. When this girl was 8 years old, it was Christmas morning and she was hanging out with her entire family. Her grandma hands her a gift. "This is to you from me." "I can't wait to open it, Grandma. Thank you so much." She opens it up and sees that it's a Christmas ornament. It's a little cherub with yarn hair and rosy cheeks. Well, this upset her very much. She cried because this was the exact same ornament she got for her grandma the year before, and she had to save her allowance up for weeks in order to get it. But apparently, her grandma didn't care. So I bought a couch from 25home.com and it came in these 2 giant boxes, so I was worried, but the first one came out super easy, all together. There's the pillow, that's the second piece, that's how it was in the box. It just came out just like that. And I put some old pillows on there to see if it would match, and it kind of does, but the couch itself is beautiful. Look at it, it's huge. Literally, the hardest part about this entire process was throwing away the cardboard boxes. Seriously. But anyway, this couch is amazing. I was so happy. It's so comfortable. Genius ways kids cheated on a test. This person said that at his high school, he had this big Spanish test one day, and him and a few of his other friends in the class did not study for it at all. It was a pretty important test. If they failed the test, they were gonna fail that class. So they came up with a genius plan. You see, this small group of students sat in the last row of the class, and there was a supply closet back there. So what they did was they paid the exchange student from Mexico $50. They brought him in the classroom at the beginning of class, gave him a blank copy of the test, and hid him in the supply closet in the back of the room. The foreign exchange student from Mexico would then whisper the answers to the students sitting next to the supply closet in the back row. This guy and his friends got an A+ on that test, and the teacher never found out. Genius ways people cheated on tests. In middle school, this dude and his best friend had every single class together. Well, he had a hard time in school, but his best friend was super smart. Well, they came up with a brilliant idea. Yeah, dude, I don't know, I keep failing the tests. I try to study, but it's just so hard. That sucks, dude, I'm getting straight A's. Shut up, dude, I know. Hey, can you tutor me? I don't got time for that, bro, but I have an even better idea. Students were actually allowed to eat during class, especially tests, and most of the tests at the school were multiple choice. A, B, C, or D. Whenever there was a test, his smart friend would bring a bag of M&Ms to class. When the test began, the smart kid would eat an M&M for every single question. Like I said, these tests were mostly multiple choice. Well, if he ate a red M&M, it would mean A. If he ate a yellow, it would mean B. Orange, C, and blue, D. So this kid would just sit back and fill in the answers based on what M&M his friend ate. And this plan worked brilliantly. He started passing all the tests. They were a good team, and the only reason they got caught is because some kid snitched on them. They both got detention, and the school changed the eating in class rule. Genius ways kids cheated on a test. This teacher shared the story. On this particular day, they were taking a test in one of this teacher's classes. A kid comes in. He sits by the window. The kid then asks the teacher if he could open the window because it's kind of warm in the room. The teacher says sure. The kid opens the window. She passes out the test. That kid scribbles something down for about 30 minutes and then asks to use the bathroom. The kid then came back, finished the test, and turned it in. So what happened here? Where's the twist? When the kid opened the window, he also opened the screen. After he got his test, he secretly dropped it out of the window. The test fell to the ground where his friend was waiting. His friend was incredibly smart. His friend took the test to the bathroom and filled it out himself. Now the kid, back in the room, had to make it look like he was working on his test, so he was scribbling nonsense on a piece of notebook paper. When he asked to go to the bathroom, he met up with his friend. His friend gave him the test, he came back to class, and he turned it in. He got an A on that test. Awesome ways kids cheated on a test. In high school, this kid was in band. Well, he had a test later in the day that he didn't study for at all. Well, he managed to get a copy of that test from another student who had that same class earlier in the day. So he got a copy of that test. That test was entirely multiple choice. During band class, he Googled all of the answers. And on a piece of empty sheet music, he wrote those answers as notes. A, B, C, and D. When he got to the class where he was having that test, the teacher passed it out and asked everyone to clear off their desks. So he set his sheet music on the ground, facing up. And all he had to do was glance down and look at the notes on the sheet and fill in the answers based on what note it was. That is absolutely genius. Genius ways kids cheated on a test. This teacher shared the story. On this particular day, they were taking a test in one of this teacher's classes. A kid comes in. He sits by the window. The kid then asks the teacher if he could open the window because it's kind of warm in the room. The teacher says sure. The kid opens the window. She passes out the test. That kid scribbles something down for about 30 minutes and then asks to use the bathroom. The kid then came back, finished the test, and turned it in. So what happened here? Where's the twist? When the kid opened the window, he also opened the screen. After he got his test, he secretly dropped it out of the window. The test fell to the ground where his friend was waiting. His friend was incredibly smart. His friend took the test to the bathroom and filled it out himself. Now the kid, back in the room, had to make it look like he was working on his test, so he was scribbling nonsense on a piece of notebook paper. When he asked to go to the bathroom, he met up with his friend. His friend gave him the test, he came back to class, and he turned it in. He got an A on that test. The teacher would have had no idea that this happened if it hadn't been for another student who snitched. But I gotta say, that's absolutely genius. Genius ways kids cheated on a test. This person said that at his high school, he had this big Spanish test one day, and him and a few of his other friends in the class did not study for it at all. It was a pretty important test. If they failed the test, they were gonna fail that class. So they came up with a genius plan. You see, this small group of students sat in the last row of the class, and there was a supply closet back there. So what they did was they paid the exchange student from Mexico $50. They brought him in the classroom at the beginning of class, gave him a blank copy of the test, and hid him in the supply closet in the back of the room. The foreign exchange student from Mexico would then whisper the answers to the students sitting next to the supply closet in the back row. This guy and his friends got an A+ on that test, and the teacher never found out. Craziest ways kids cheated on a test. This girl said that when she was in middle school, she didn't study for this huge exam. And in that particular class, they had assigned seats. Well, at lunch, she found the girl that sat in front of her. She asks her, "Hey, so, huge favor, can I write the test answers on the back of your neck?" "Oh my gosh, are you for real? I mean, what do I get out of this?" "I'll give you $20. Pay up." Then at lunch, she wrote the answers on the back of her neck. Later that day in that classroom during the test, she would just tap on that girl's shoulder. The girl would move her hair to the side, and she would fill the answers into the test. Sometimes you gotta pay for that A. At this one high school football game, there was a student who decided to do something crazy that day. The person that shared this story said it was a Friday night, and they were at the school football game, when all of a sudden, a student decided to put on a banana costume and run across the field during the game. Well, the school wanted to expel him, and once the students heard about this, things got crazy. A hashtag was started. Hashtag Free Banana Man. Kids were making custom t-shirts, chanting Free Banana Man at lunch. It was a whole thing. Well, the principal didn't like any of this happening, so he placed a school-wide ban on anything related to Banana Man. This included the t-shirts, the chants, bananas themselves, and even the color yellow. Eventually, the parents stepped in. Banana Man was allowed to come back to school, and the principal, whether this be a coincidence or not, resigned the following year. This is a crazy McDonald's story. Dwayne Waden was a pastor in North Carolina, and his wife worked at McDonald's. She was training to be a manager. Well, Dwayne received a phone call from his wife one day. She basically called her husband to complain that the employees were disrespecting her as she was training to be a manager. Well, Dwayne wouldn't have this, so the North Carolina pastor got in his car and drove to the McDonald's where his wife worked. He barged inside. His wife pointed to the employee that was disrespecting her, and he charged him. Dwayne punched him in the face, grabbed his head, and tried to shove his head into the deep fryer. The other employees stopped Dwayne from doing this, and they called the police. Dwayne was then arrested, and that poor guy was taken to the hospital. I guess it's safe to say that a pastor became a friar that day. The bathroom is right there. Will you come in with me, Dad? Elliot, you're 13 years old. You can go to the bathroom by yourself, okay? Why are you always here? Delivery driver's worst experiences. One night, this dude was delivering KFC to a house. He gets there and he knocks on the door. A middle school aged kid then opens the door. He then yells upstairs to his friends. Hey guys, the chicken idiot is here! The chicken idiot is here! That's when about 8 other kids appear at the top of the stairs, and they started throwing coins down to pay for the chicken. Chicken idiot. Can you guys just hand me the money, please? After he asked that, they started throwing the coins harder. Chicken man, stupid chicken man. That's when he snapped. These kids made him so angry that he picked up their bag of chicken and chucked it at their wall. Hey, what the heck? And he left. He told his boss what happened when he got back to the KFC. Those kids' parents later called to complain, but the boss had this guy's back. He simply told those kids' parents to screw off. Epic. Genius ways people cheated on a test. This dude said that when he was in high school, one of his buddies stole the final exam out of the teacher's desk when she wasn't looking. That day, they took the test home and used the textbook to fill all of the answers in. Since the test was multiple choice, this kid decided to make coded keychains with colored beads on it. The test was 50 questions long, so the keychain had 50 beads on it. A red bead was A, a blue bead was B, yellow was C, and green was D. It would start with the first bead on the top as question 1 and go down from there. He then attached that keychain to his car keys and just left his keys on top of his desk as he took the test. The best part was the teacher complimented that keychain as she was passing the test out. He said, "Thanks, my little sister made it." She thought that was so sweet, but the truth is that kid did not have a little sister. Genius. People that lucid dream basically never sleep, because sometimes lucid dreams can feel just as real as actual waking life. Picture this, you have an incredibly long day, you go to sleep, but you wake up in your dream. Except you know you are dreaming, and you can do whatever you want. It's your own personal world. You can fly to anywhere you like, make anything appear in front of you, not to mention that you can actually practice for things in real life in your dream. If you don't know how to lucid dream, you should. And this app will teach you everything you need to know. Go to the App Store and search YoroX. I promise it works. The weirdest compliments people received. This woman was stopped on the street by a stranger. Hey, excuse me. Yeah? I just wanted to say that I love your cheekbones. You look like an elf. Thank you. This person also got a weird compliment. Hey bro, this is Jack. Hey, what's up, man? Jack, nice to meet you. I'm Carl. Oh man, what? Let me see that. You have an awesome left ear. Thank you, man. That's really nice of you to say. This girl was on a date. Hi, Steven, right? Stacy, you look different than in your pictures. Well, I hope that's a good thing. Oh, no, it's good. You look like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. But in a cute way. Like a cute Gollum. And last but not least, have you ever been complimented by your dentist? Well, this dude has. Buddy, your oral cavity is amazing to work with. There's so much space in here. Oh, thank you. This high school made a huge mistake. All of the boys' bathrooms at this one high school were shut down by the school because somebody was stealing toilet paper. So they closed down the bathrooms until the person who was stealing toilet paper turned themselves in. Well, that's not fair to the other students. For about a week, the boys' bathrooms were closed, and the boys were getting very upset by it. How can they lock the bathrooms? What if I had to poop? I have to poop right now. I've been holding it in every single day. Boys, I have an idea. After lunch, at exactly 1:15 p.m., stand on your desks and take a dump right there. Spread the word. The second the clock hit 1:15, this is what happened. A total of 25 dudes pooped on their desks in the middle of class. The school actually got into huge trouble for denying people bathroom privileges, and the poop incident went down in history. This kid ran a super weird business at school. My follower sent me the story about someone who went to his high school. Well, I guess one day he came to a realization that almost everyone is ticklish. Well, during lunch at the school, there was a classroom that no one used. It was the science room. There were no windows in this classroom either. Well, one day he told a bunch of people to come to the science room during lunch, and a bunch of people did. When they got to the science room, they saw this kid, and a giant sign that said, "Anyone that can be tickled for 2 minutes without squirming or laughing wins food." And in that room was a giant table with a bunch of food and snacks on it. And he charged a $10 entry fee if anyone wanted to do the challenge. Well, surprisingly enough, almost everyone accepted this challenge. People were paying this guy to tickle them, and if they could handle being tickled for 2 minutes, they would win a bunch of food from the food table. This went on for 6 months, and in total he made over $5,000. Well, one day, someone couldn't pass the challenge. They got mad and told the principal, and the principal shut him down. That's crazy. Awesome ways kids cheated on a test. In high school, this kid was in band. Well, he had a test later in the day that he didn't study for at all. Well, he managed to get a copy of that test from another student who had that same class earlier in the day. So he got a copy of that test. That test was entirely multiple choice. During band class, he Googled all of the answers. And on a piece of empty sheet music, he wrote those answers as notes. A, B, C, and D. When he got to the class where he was having that test, the teacher passed it out and asked everyone to clear off their desks. So he set his sheet music on the ground, facing up. And all he had to do was glance down and look at the notes on the sheet and fill in the answers based on what note it was. That is absolutely genius. Hey bro, so I think I'm gonna ask Stacy to the dance. Bro, good for you, dude. You deserve it. But you might want to act quick because, look, no, they call me Mr. Suave. No, I'm kidding. But I am suave though. I'm super suave. Let's just say I lift about, 110 on a good day. You know what? I'm going up there. Hey Stacy. Oh, hey Kyle, what are you doing? What are you doing here, loser? Stacy, quick question. Are you inflatable? No, why? Oh, did you hear that, Chad? She's not your type. I only bought one of those dolls and it was a joke. Yeah, right. You're just saying that in front of Stacy because you hate me. Oh, no. I'm not saying I hate you. What I'm saying is if you were dying, I would unplug your life support to charge my phone. Stacy, you, me, dance Friday? What do you say? I will see you there. Bye, Stacy. My favorite comebacks. Hey, Carla, what do you want, Stacy? I saw you getting your nails done last night at the mall with your mom. That's so embarrassing, Carla. At least I have a mom. You take that back right now. How dare you say that to me? Oh, shut up, Stacy. You're so ugly your face makes onions cry. That's the worst joke I ever heard. It's not a joke. Look what you did to Greg's onion. It's okay, buddy. She'll go away soon. I'm so sorry. She's so ugly. Here's a genius study hack to pass your exams. This one is strange, but if you stick with it, I think this could be a genius way. You can Pavlov yourself. What you do is you choose an object, like some glasses, a hat, a tie, a scarf, anything. Then you only wear or use that object when you're studying. Now, if you stop studying to look at your phone, grab a snack, and go to the bathroom, take off that object. When you return to studying, put that object back on. Make sure that the only thing that object represents is studying. People who have tried this said it takes about a month, but eventually they started to associate that item with studying. So whenever they put it on, studying became 10 times easier. I don't know, it's worth a shot. This dude is crazy for this. So the guy that shared this story said that one day, in middle school, he got to school early. And he noticed that there was a school bus in the school bus lot that was running, and there was nobody in it. So he decided to get in the bus, and he drove away. He took the school bus on a joyride around the town. He had been driving for about 20 minutes before he realized, oh, I better get back to school. His class is starting soon. So he drove the bus to a wooded area near the school. He drove it inside and left it there. He then walked to a gas station near this wooded area and used a payphone to call the police. Hi, yeah, is this the police? Good, there's a school bus running in this wooded area by the Shell gas station. Somebody better come get it. He then walked to school, went to class. The police found the bus and took it back to the bus lot. He was never caught, and the school bus wasn't damaged at all. Nobody ever knew what he did. Until now. He said he kept that secret for years. But now that he's older, he said it was too good of a story not to share. Yeah, that's kind of legendary. A woman was living inside a family fair sign in Michigan. On April 23rd last month, some contractors were working on something at this family fair store in Michigan when they noticed a very long extension cord leading up to the roof. They got to the roof, and they saw the cord going directly into the small door of the family fair sign. They decided to knock on the door, and that's when they heard a woman's voice. They were obviously startled, so they called the police.
Yeah, I was trying to get my stuff so I can get down right away. I'm moving out of here in 24 hours to get away from all of this.
You're coming out right now.
The inside of the sign was about 5 feet by 8 feet, and this woman had been living there for a year. She had put flooring down. There was a Keurig coffee machine, a small bed with bedding, her clothes, a mini desk, and a printer. And all of this stuff was powered by that extension cord. They called her the Roof Ninja.
It's not too bright out here, that's good.
The Haunting of Maple Street. As Halloween approached, the neighborhood of Maple Street buzzed with excitement and a hint of fear. For years, children shared stories of the old Jenkins house. Jenkins house was the creepiest, oldest house on the street that had been abandoned for decades. Mysteriously, the house remained untouched since the day Mrs. Jenkins was found dead inside. Well, on Halloween night, the neighborhood was buzzing with anticipation. Everybody was out trying to get their candy. Well, 3 friends, Jess, Sam, and Lucy, were walking by the old Jenkins house. But to their surprise, there was a flickering, creepy-looking sign on the front yard that said trick or treat. Oh, we shouldn't go up there, you guys. You heard those stories, right? Yeah, something doesn't feel right about this. Oh, shut up. Those stories are fake. I want my candy. Let's go. The door creaked open. It was an older lady standing there. A trick or treat? The old woman slowly turned her head up and said, treat? Or trick? The 3 kids ran away in complete fright. The sound of laughter echoed the streets. The old Jenkins house came alive once more that Halloween. Those 3 kids never forgot what happened on that doorstep. Crazy things that happened at a friend's house. When this kid was in middle school, one night he was having dinner at his friend's house with his friend's family. The dinner went well. The food was really good. But once everyone was done eating, the mom did something kind of repulsive. She took everyone's plates and put them on the floor. She then called the family dog into the kitchen and had the dog lick all of those plates clean. The mom then put those plates that the dog just licked clean back into the cupboard, and everyone in that family acted like it was completely normal. He said he was disgusted and he threw up that night because he was probably eating his food off of a dog-licked plate. He never went to that house ever again. What's wrong with parents? This lady said that when she was growing up, she had 3 brothers. She was the only girl in the family. For some reason, her mom just didn't like her, I guess. She would always say things like, "My focus is on raising my boys. I love my boys." I love your brothers so much, and I don't love you. Which is, yeah, what the hell is her problem? But that was her reality. She started saying this stuff to her at the age of 8 years old, and growing up, she never got a birthday party once. But all 3 of her brothers got birthday parties every year, and they were huge. When she turned 16 years old, during one of her brother's birthday parties, she blew up on her mother and left. Before that party started, she had recorded her mom saying messed up stuff to her, and right before she left, she played that video on the TV in front of her entire family. I don't know what you want from me. My focus is on raising my boys. I love your brothers so much. I don't love you. I love your brothers so much. Those are my boys, but I definitely don't love you. So now everyone knows what went on behind closed doors. After that day, she'd never talked to her mom ever again. Yo, this dude is sus. Okay, so at this one person's high school, there was this dude, and everyone called him Crazy Leo. He was like 6 feet tall, he acted and said weird stuff all the time, and he had crazy eyes. Well, the girl that shared this story said that one day, in chemistry lab, Crazy Leo came up very close behind her. Immediately, she was sussed out. I mean, Crazy Leo was acting freaking crazy. Well, he then asks her this. Can I have one of your hairs? What? Can I have one of your hairs? Sure, fine, take it. Thank you. She said yes just to get him to leave her alone, and he plucked a hair straight out of her head. Once he got the hair, he walked away back to his seat. He then turned on the Bunsen burner in front of him, lit the hair on fire, and inhaled the fumes. Good old Crazy Leo. This kid cheated on his tests in a genius way. So at his high school, whenever they took a test in a specific class, they would grade all the tests as a class. So you would be grading your own paper. But the teacher would make sure that you only had a red pen at your desk. So when you were grading your own paper, you could only use a red pen. Well, this kid had a brilliant idea. He never studied for tests. He said he didn't really want to. So what he did in this class was he took his red pen, opened it up, took out the red ink pen thing, and replaced that with a black ink pen thing. Looks like a red pen, but it's actually black. So when the teacher is giving out the answers and the students are grading their tests in the red pen, this guy would be fixing everything he got wrong. And it would look like he was grading his tests, when in reality, he was changing his answers. He said this worked every single time, and he got an A on every single test in that class. So I had another weird dream last night, and I want to show you something. Every so often when I have a really vivid dream, I want to write them down. And that's because when you write down your dreams every night, it helps you remember them more often. And when you remember your dreams more often, you're more likely to have a lucid dream, which is a dream that you know you are dreaming and you can do whatever you want, which is obviously awesome. So I use this app called Yoru X. I wake up from my dream in the middle of the night, I open up the app, and all you gotta do is press this button. And bingo, there you are. You can write down your dream right there. The coolest part about this is that the app will actually generate an AI image of your dream. It'll also interpret it for you. You can label it if it was a lucid dream or a nightmare, and you can make your dream diary entries public or private if you want. Check out this person's. They had a dream about a sorcery school. They wrote it down, the app interpreted the dream for them, and this is the AI-generated image that the app made for that dream. Download it, write down your dreams for a whole week, and let me know the craziest dream you had. Check it out. This device can save your computer and other things from power cuts. It's called the Golden Mate. You plug it into the wall and there's 4 outlets on the back right here. You can then plug in stuff like a computer or your Wi-Fi router, and if the power ever goes out, this thing takes over, allowing you to quickly save and safely shut down everything without hurting your device or losing stuff. Alright, let me show you. So I have my computer plugged into the Golden Mate, and the Golden Mate is plugged into the wall. Alright, the Golden Mate is on, my computer is on, but watch what happens when I unplug the Golden Mate itself. Like I said, it's still running and it's going to take care of your equipment while you safely shut it down and save your files and whatnot. This thing is great. Plus, it looks awesome. This thing would also be amazing for like medical equipment. Say you have some important medical equipment and the power goes out, that stuff would keep running while you figure out your next move. Click that cart right now to get your very own Golden Mate and keep your devices protected. I promise it's worth it. One day at this one high school, the science class was dissecting sheep brains as a part of a science lab. Well, as the students were cutting up bits and pieces of the sheep's brain, I guess one of the kids had a pretty crazy idea. He took a few pieces of the sheep brain and put them in his pocket. And that day during lunch, he put pieces of sheep brain in the self-serve ranch bowls. So when the students went to serve themselves ranch, a few of them would get brain on their plate. Pizza day, ranch with pizza, ranch. Oh my god! At first, obviously, no one knew it was sheep's brain. They thought it was a human brain. The rest of that day was absolute chaos. Black markets kids were in their schools. This one did not work out so well for this guy. When he was in school, he tried to run a business. So the school had two Wi-Fi signals. One was public for the students and the other was private for the teachers. Obviously, the private Wi-Fi was the faster one. Well, this kid somehow got his hands on that Wi-Fi password. And he thought to himself, you know what, I'm gonna sell this password to other students at the school. And so he found his first customer. I have the teacher's Wi-Fi password. Do you want it? Yeah, I want it. I'll sell it to you for 50 cents. 50 cents? Easy, here you go. He felt good. He made his first sale, and he was planning on making a lot more money that day. So after that next class was lunch. He was gonna walk around and try to sell this password to more students. I have the private Wi-Fi password. You wanna buy it off me?
Billy told me it already.
Oh, okay. Hey, so I have the teacher's Wi-Fi password.
I got the password from Billy.
Hey, you wanna buy the teacher's...
Billy gave it to me, man.
Does everyone have...
Yeah, I think so.
Billy! Morning, sweetie. How'd you sleep? Well, I had a dream that something terrible was gonna happen at the school dance on Friday. Well, that's just a nightmare, baby. Eat your yogurt. I put pineapple in there. Oh, yummy pineapple. I'm actually not hungry, Mom. I'm going to school. Morning, bro. What's up, man? Nothing, dude. Who's that? Oh, that's Greg and Marissa. They're a year ahead of us. Oh, okay. You good, bro? I'm going to class. So this is going to be a really easy way for you to do this equation. It says 7 plus pineapple is 16 plus pineapple is 40. Johnny! You will die on Friday. What did you just say? No sleeping in my class. Pay attention. I gotta go. Something horrible is gonna happen on Friday. Hey, come with us. We'll explain everything. What the? This one middle school teacher said that she had a class pet, a goldfish, that she loved very much. Well, one morning she got to school and she went to go feed her fish. All right, Felipe, time for breakfast. Felipe? The fish was gone. Nowhere to be seen. The tank was empty. That entire day, she was incredibly sad. She announced to her class, "Hello class, this morning I walked into the classroom to feed Felipe, and he is no longer in the tank. I have no idea where he is. I don't want to point any fingers, but I didn't move him, so that means one of you had to have taken my fish." No one said anything. Until later that night, she was sitting at home when she got a text from one of her students. It was a screen recording of a Snapchat story. The Snapchat story showed a kid putting Felipe the class fish into a water bottle, and then giving that water bottle with Felipe inside of it to a random person on the street. Oh my God. She never saw Felipe again, and that kid was suspended.
আপনি যে কি করে আপনার কোনো কনসেন্স নেই আমার বাসায় তুমি সবাই দেখে ফেলে
রাত 10টায় আমি ফোন দিব আর একবারের বেশি যদি রিং হয় মামা মালটা তো জোস সরি ভাবি তুই পারবি দেখ কিভাবে কই সেটিং মিটিং নাই তো সেটিং মানে বুঝো না পেন্টিরিতি ও তো আমাদের ভাবি হয় ওই হিসাবে আমাদের বিয়ে হিসাব আপনি
আচ্ছা দাঁড়া ওয়েট কর আমাকে একটু ভাবতে দে দেখি কি করা যায়
দোস্ত তুই থাক আমি যাই আমি থাকবো মানে তুই থাক দোস্ত
রক্ত লাগবে রে রক্ত আসবো না মানে
হ্যাঁ তাই তো শুনলাম
আসবো না ঠিক আছে দেখতেছি ব্যাপারটা যাও
কি রে তুই কোচিং এ যাস না কেন
দোস্ত আমি কোচিং এ কিভাবে যাব বল এই গুন্ডাটা যে আমাকে ডিস্টার্ব করে তুই দেখতেই তো পারছস ডেইলি আমার পিছনে লাগে থাকে
আমার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা অপূর্ণ রয়ে গেল গলবে পাখির মন গলবে এমন মন্ত্র দেব
এভাবে রাস্তাঘাটে একটা মেয়েকে উত্তক্ত করে আর নিজের গায়ে রক্ত দিয়ে
হ্যালো,
হেই হোয়াটস আপ প্র্যাঙ্ক ম্যান?
কে?
একটু হলেই তো তোমার ফোন হাওয়া হয়ে যেত।
তুই তোর ফোন আর কোনোদিন পাবি না।
কেন?
তোর বাবা তো তোর ফোনটাকে একদম আছাড় দিয়ে ভেঙে শেষ, এমনকি পানিতে চুবাইছে।
আউট অফ কিউরিয়াসিটি হয়তো দেখা করব, বাট আই এম নট দ্যাট মাচ ইজি, অলওয়েজ রিমেম্বার।
আজকে যদি তারা না থাকতো আজকে তো দিতাম একদম। এই খালি স্কার্টেন গার্ডেন।
এই যে আপু, এসব গার্ডেন ফার্ডেন যায় না, আমার ভাই ব্রাদাররা আছে, আপনার একদম কামড়ায় দিবে। না 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 ব্রো, এই যে আপনার ফোন প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল ব্রো, চিল চিল চিল। রাকিব ভাই, আপনি এসআই রাকিব ভাই না? আপনার কথা আমি অনেক শুনছি। আপনি কিন্তু মানে বুঝের লোক। টেজে তোলেন।
এই হোসেন আলী, ক্যামেরা আগেই কইছিলাম আমার বস ফেমাস। হ্যাঁ ভাই একটু যদি ধরতে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ শিওর।
তো কিভাবে যে কনফার্ম হই?
এটা তো এদিকে না, 3 নাম্বার গেট ওইদিকে, শঙ্কর গলি বোধহয় গেটের বাইরে। আপনি ভুল আসছেন, যান।
ভুল আসছে, কিন্তু আমি কি চিনতে পারবো?
ও আচ্ছা, আপনি দ্যাট বোরখা গার্ল।
চিনতে পেরেছো তাহলে না?
আই লাইক গুড গার্লস। ফলো করতে ফলো কর, যা। ইফে কই যায় দেখবি, যা। সারা জীবনে প্রথম কাউরে প্র্যাঙ্ক করতে যায়, নিজেই আজকে প্র্যাঙ্ক হয়ে গেল।
মুনিয়া, তুমি আমাকে বলেছো যে তুমি তোমার কোনো বয়ফ্রেন্ড নাই।
না না, বয়ফ্রেন্ড না, আমি ওনার বয়ফ্রেন্ড, আমি ওর ফিয়ান্সে। ওর সাথে আমার বিয়ে নেক্সট।
ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা,
আমার জন্য?
এটা তোমার জন্য একটা নতুন ফোন দিলাম।
এই জন্য তাহলে তোমরা এতক্ষণ নাটক করছো?
নাটক না, তোমার ফোনটা পুরনো হয়ে গেছে।
কেন
নতুন ফোন।
আমরা প্র্যাঙ্ক করতে পারি না?
একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট কথা ছিল তোমার সাথে। এমন করলে কেমন হয় যদি এই এন্টারটেইনমেন্ট জার্নিতে আমি জয়েন করি তোমার সাথে?
আরে বেঞ্চ সাহেব, নতুন নতুন সম্বন্ধ তো তাই চিনতে পারেন নাই। ওই যে আপনার বান্ধবী তুলি আছে না?
আপনি যে কি করে, আপনি তাতে কোনো কমন সেন্স নেই? আমার বাসায় যদি সবাই দেখে ফেলে।
রাত 10টায় আমি ফোন দিব, আর একবারের বেশি যদি রিং হয়। মামা, মালটা তো জোস। সরি 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 ভাবি, তুই পারবি, দেখ কিভাবে কই। সেটিং মেটিং নাই তো? সেটিং মানে বুঝো না, পেন্টিরিতি।
সবে তিনটে সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে পড়ি।
সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে এখন ক্লাস 9 এর পোলাবেন প্রেম করে।
মামা, মায়া তো অস্থির। এক্সকিউজ মি আপু, এক্সকিউজ মি, আপনার নামটা যদি বলতেন একটু।
শুনেন বেঞ্চ সাহেব, আমার বন্ধু জিসান, ঠিক আছে? আপনার বান্ধবীরে শুনো, মারি নাই তো, শাসন করছি। ভালো লাগে না, একটু মারতেই পারি, কিন্তু খুব খারাপ হয়ে গেছে। তুই তোর ভাবির নামে সুন্দর একটা রিক্সা ডাক। ভাবি, চিনিটা আমার বন্ধু জিসান দিচ্ছে, প্লিজ ভাবি আপনি একটু নেন, প্লিজ ভাবি। দেখেন ভাবি, কালকে সারা রাত তোমার আমি কল দিচ্ছি।
তাহলে আপনি শুনুন আপনার ভালোবাসার মানুষের অতীত বর্তমান।
পাগল কোন একদম ঠিক হয় না, ওনার ব্যথা লাগে নাই।
ব্যথা তো বেশি তুমি।
তুহিনে ব্যথা লাগছে মানে?
বন্ধু তুই চিন্তা করিস না রে, ভাবির মন ঠিকই গলে যাবে। ভাবির মন তো গলবে, কিন্তু